Doctor, I just did one question and it told me all
Yes,
done.
Muhammad. Yes, Muhammad.
I did one question and it told me
طب join again, join
congratulations
again,
question.
join again.
Okay.
Marwan, the link of the game is shared with you on WhatsApp and you would find it on the chat as well. Your friends are doing it, so quickly join them. So far, Hajar is the first. Fatima Mtwali comes second. Let's find out how would it continue. I think Hajar and Fatima Mtwali, both of them finished their questions. And Hajar so far is the first. Let's wait and see. I think Omar Wali is almost there. Yusuf as well. Muhammad Rashwan. Muhammad Zidan. Omar Rifais. So there. Okay, so Muhammad Zidan, you have 3 questions to go, I think, or 4. Omar Wali, you finished your questions. Yusuf's almost there as well. In a couple of minutes, we would end the game, so please try to answer quickly. Ed, I think your answers are not covered. Right, so far, Hajar Rami comes first with 13,000. Fatima Mtwalli comes second with 10,200. Yusuf ended his questions. He's the third so far. Muhammad Zidan might come before him because he still have a question or a couple. Muhammad Rashwan comes fifth. Omar Wadi sixth. But 1 minute to go, so please, those students who didn't finish answering their questions, quickly, please. Let me share with you the screen. Yes, Muhammad Rashdan.
Can you read the text, the chat?
Yeah, of course. No, Muhammad. We were just talking about this. Actually, Muhammad, all of us are out Egypt, only one or two, and it's 7 o'clock. Just Egypt changed the time, so who are in Egypt right now will change their time, the 1 hour difference. I think you are in Jeddah, Muhammad, right? In Saudi Arabia. So all of us would follow because only one country would change it, not all of the countries. And most of the scenes are not in Egypt. But let's see right now would end it. Muhammad Rashwan, you are the third. So really close to come second or something. You do have 1 question to go or 2 questions. Let me share with you the screen. Here we go. Let's end it and find out the 3 positions on the top. Third one is Fatima, second one is Muhammad Rashwan, first one is Hajar. Excellent, good job, mashallah, Mubarak. But actually, by the way, we do have some other scenes did really well today. So Muhammad Zdan did well as well. I know that the questions weren't that easy, but here, for example, we do have Hajar Rami scored 19 out of 20. Muhammad Rashdan scored less than Fatima. Fatima scored 17. Muhammad Rashwan scored 15. Here we do have Yusuf scored like 12. Some other scenes scored more later, like Muhammad Zidan and so on. That's perfect, my dear. It was excellent. Now it's just a reminder. It would never come to you in the exam to check or get the correct linking word, but you need to know them so you'll be able to answer accordingly. Whether you read Cambridge or Oxford or even Edexcel, you need to know the linking words, how they work in order to be able to use them. Today, inshallah, in the writing paper that we would be discussing and the writing exercise, you would find that linking words would start to be more important even than before. Let's find out more about today's session, inshallah. First of all, so far we spoke about the whole reading paper, how it comes. We answered reading paper. We discussed the rephrasing questions last session, and then we answered the listening paper, the whole listening paper. We went through it. We understood how do I answer listening questions, that the verb is extremely important there. How do we answer other exercises when it comes to rephrasing questions and so on. In improving writing style, we went through a lot of units. We went through the sentence structure, we went through the punctuation, we went through how to vary our sentence openers, linking words, how to paraphrase or rephrase questions. So we went subject-verb agreement and so on. All of this we tried to take in the beginning. So today, inshallah, when we start writing, blog writing, or to understand what is blog writing, and when we go with the word limit more, so the first task that we had, it was picture description. It was covered in the early beginning, and it was 30 to 50 words. We didn't ask for linking words. We didn't ask for introduction, conclusion, or whatsoever. It was simple, just 4 to 5 sentences, 30 to 50 words. Then we spoke about the informal email letter, where we had a specific structure like the salutation, dear, and the name of the person, and the greeting at the end, and how can we do it. We spoke about 3 bullet points. We said that the last one, if it's task 2, last one, it's really important to be developed in its own paragraph. We said that all of the bullet points should be covered. Of course, if I dropped one of them, I wouldn't be able to get the full mark. First task was out of 9 marks, 6 for content and 3 for language. We cared for language only about punctuation and spelling, but content we said 3, no communication delay, detailed and relevant. Task 2, which was informal email letter, 6 content again and 6 language. So we said the content again relevant, detailed, which means the last bullet point in details. All of the bullet points have to be covered, and of course, no communication delay. When it came to the language, we said spelling and punctuation should be accurate, the same like task 1, but also we said wide range of vocab and wide range of sentence structure. Actually, the informal email letter usually comes as task 2, the 3 bullet points, but it came once before in 2019 as task 3. Rather than this, it didn't come as task 3. But task 3 usually, how does it come? Usually comes as blog writing. So what is blog writing? How do we write it? It's not there in Cambridge, so we didn't get trained about and so on. Let's find out even what do you mean by the word blog? What does blog stand for? And how could it be written and so on? I sent the notes of blog writing like 1 hour before we start, so you would have the soft copy of them, and I'm sharing them with you right now as well. Before we talk about the blog writing, I just wanted to remind you that we said that we do have vocabulary to be memorized. In improving writing style, if you do remember, we said page 65, the first 2 boxes were for the week before last, and the last week is supposed to be the second 2 columns. So the first 2 columns, which were accepting open, those words, which are synonyms, they could work instead of each other. As for the denotation, connotation depends upon the connected meaning, of course. And then we spoke about the second part, aliveness or joy, the words which work here for this one. Now we would later, even the week after, it should be about angry or annoyed, but because I did remind you, so I'm not blaming you. Now I'm just reminding you that those 2 columns, they should have been studied last week. If you did, perfect, because we said every week we should do. If you didn't do it, so please, this week you should study and memorize them. To study new vocab, you need to find out how do they work in a sentence. So you can just, if you got any word of these, copy paste in any of the dictionaries, online dictionaries, you would find some sentences using them. By the way, at the end, they all give the meaning of the bold word here. So courageous, of course, it means brave. Sometimes it depends upon the context. Could be adventurous, could be determined, could be daring, could be confident. Yes, they are denotations or synonyms, but according to the context, you might have different meanings. So free, for example, could be free, like no money would be paid for, and could work as courageous. And it depends upon and according to the text. So you need to memorize those words would be really helpful to you for rephrasing questions, whether it is reading or listening. And of course, even when it comes to writing, you would see that task 2, which was asking for a wide range of vocab, task 3 would ask for a wide range of effective vocab. So we shouldn't be waiting for you to use only the word happy, but we do have some other words, as we said for the first time, ecstatic and so on, when we asked you to memorize. It should be at the end of this week, you should have been done with the first 3 columns. So if you did the second column, as we mentioned, every week, 2 columns, it's perfect. Some of you, I know that were under the stress of midterm exams of the last week and so on, so they weren't able to. So please, you do have this week, try to group them according to the 7 days to be sure that you are done with them. You would find at any time a surprise test being sent to your parents about these vocab. It's not a lot of idioms like the ones that we had before. It's just like a couple of pages, and we are dividing them. So be sure that you are studying them. Be sure even how to pronounce them. So if you don't know how to read the word, so for example, radiant, how can I read it? Or how can I pronounce it? Put it in any online dictionary and it would pronounce it to you. Repeat it till you will be sure that you got the meaning. Some of these words, by the way, you might find in the rephrasing questions could be hard to you. So, for example, if it came to you melancholy, if you didn't study it according to this part of sad and despair, you wouldn't be able how to link it to other words like gloomy and so on. And I think I already showed you some of these words which came in, for example, May, June 2025, the word which came to be rephrased, and it was really hard for most of students, it was the word colossal. And the colossal, it means like big and so on, and we already have it here. So for example, here, the word big, you would find some words are given to this word. Colossal, it was one of them here. And it came, and it was really hard for some students and so on. Anyone who studied the topic-related vocab, it would have been to them really simple and easy to be taken, all right? So let's just remind you that we need to be done with page 65, the first 3 columns only. We will, during the course, inshallah, we'll finish all of these vocab. Be sure that you are done till the word yearning. Now, let's go to the blog writing. Where can we find it? How would it look like? What should we do? How can we write it? What is blog even? We know informal email later. This year we spoke about, for example, reports in the school or whatsoever, but what is blog? Look, to be honest, task 3 usually comes a blog, but not ours. For May, June 2025, he brought it article. But for the rest of the exams, only 1 time article, 1 time, no, 2 times article, 1 time informal email letter, and the rest of the exams of Oxford were blog writing. And the blog writing, 1 time when it came article task 3, blog writing was task 4. So it's an important topic, we have to study it. It could come as blog. And he might tell you, write a diary entry. It's the same like blog, just the outline which would be different. So we would take the blog and consider it diary. The only difference that diary, you would start with dear diary, and at the end you would write your name. I would show you some samples, so just focus with us. Here, if you do not mind, Muhammad Ahmed Zidan, here this task, the blog writing, can come as task 3 or task 4. So if you don't mind, Muhammad Ahmed Zidan, tell us if it came task 3, how would it be? How many words, how many marks, and so on? If you don't mind.
Task 3.
Yes.
Task 3. Word limit 70 to 90 words. The number 4 is approximate, and the examiner's mark and credit all work information produced by the student. Marks are not deducted for exceeding the specified words limit. However, do not write too long. Mark 16. The response is assessed for content and communication, 8 marks, and for language, 8 marks.
Excellent, Muhammad. Thank you so much. So as Muhammad told us, it's task 3, and it comes to be written between 70 to 90. But the word here, when we say the examiner's mark and credit all work, it means that if you wrote 100, 120, 150, we would check whatever you wrote. The only point that sometimes when you exceed 150 and so on, you might have some language mistakes. So we tell you, try to do all of the requirements within 90, 100, 110, 120, totally fine. But Mr. Do I need to count my words? No. Don't count some scenes. They count, and at the end they write in front of the last line, for example, 97 words or 110. Do not do this. We do not need it, because whatever you would write, it would be checked. Just be sure that you exceeded the 70 words. And to be honest, if you covered all of the bullet points and you detailed or wrote in details for the last 2 bullet points, you would exceed the 90 words. But here we said the examiners will mark and credit all the work, information produced. And we will never deduct, so marks are not deducted for exceeding the specified word limit. So if you exceeded, it's totally fine. But try to avoid writing 250, because I do remember one of the scenes just last week. He was writing the blog writing and he wrote like 300 words. Of course, a lot of mistakes were there. So try to avoid writing too much. Just try to stick to the point. Another point, even if you don't have mistakes, it would take long time from your time. And if it took long time from your time, it would affect task 4. You wouldn't be able to do it. And if you were able to do it, you wouldn't be able to proofread. And we said many times, proofreading is extremely important. Do not get the examiner to be the first person to read what you wrote. You should read to yourself. You would find sometimes, I meant to write this. I meant to write this. I see it all like some students taking October, November, the examinations which are happening nowadays. They already done with the reading, listening, and speaking. In Jeddah, still speaking, but in different cities, they already don't speak. The writing would be 10th of November, which means like 9 days from now. And till today, while we were checking the writing, we find some mistakes. Even I got some students to one-to-one classes. I told them, do not come with the class. I want you individually. Just to get them to read what they wrote and to ask them, what do you mean by this? Do not put yourself in such a situation. Some students are before the exams. And guess what? It's all because what you used to. If you got used from now, some students are saying, Mr. We are taking the exam after 1 year or 9 months or whatsoever. So we can proofread later. If you got used to not to proofread, you will never proofread before the exam. No, you will never proofread inside the exam itself. And if you proofread, you wouldn't notice the mistakes because your eyes didn't get trained to see the mistakes. So it's extremely important to proofread. To do this, avoid writing more than 150 words or something. But if it came task 4, if you do not mind, can you please read task 4, the word limit? Yes, Reem, can you hear us? I think you're suffering from internet connection. Yeah, can you hear?
Word limit. Yes, mister, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Please. Yeah, the word limit. Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you.
Task 4 word limit 100 to 150 words. The number of words is approximate, and the examiner's mark and all work information produced by the student. Mark
I know that you have some issues with the internet, that's why you joined late. So marks are not deducted for exceeding the specified word limit. However, do not write too long. Look, my dear students, this is the last task in the writing paper. Task 4. Task 4 usually comes as an article writing, but it came before once blog writing, so it can come again. Here he wouldn't say 70 to 90 words, but he says 100 to 150, which is somehow close to Cambridge, which is 120 to 160. Here you would find that the marks given are not 16, like task 3, or 12, like task 2, or 9, like task 1. It's 23. The content would remain 8 marks. But when it comes to the language, it will not be 8 marks. The language, it would be 15 marks, which means that he requires a lot of information here. You would find the vocab if in task 2, the information letter, he asked for wide range. Task 3, wide range of effective vocab. Here he would say sophisticated vocabulary. That's why memorizing the vocab that I showed to you in improving writing style from now is extremely important to be able to use them while you are writing the blog writing, whether it's task 3 or task 4. So be sure that you are using the complex structure. No worries, Reem, it happens. Again, as I told you, it's extremely important to memorize them. We would see right now a sample of the past paper questions. We told you before that all of the classified questions we put. To be honest, in May, June 2025, the recent exam, which was like 4 months ago or something, this exam, task 3 didn't come as a blog. He asked for article, and task 4, he asked for article. But I want you to be smart enough. Task 3, whether it came blog, it came article, it came review, it came diary writing, it came whatever comes, you would have 4 bullet points. You would need to write them. The only difference between blog or article, the outline. And that's what we would look at, like the frame of work, how it looks like. But the bullet points have to be covered. And I would show you, so do not get really stressed, would it be blog or would it be article? Whatever comes, it would be in the same technique that we would follow. So write a blog post. If you do not mind, Can you hear Muhammad Ahmed Rashwan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Write a blog post about an activity you do with your friends. You must write about what the activity is, where you do the activity, who you do the activity with, why do you do it. Your
Okay,
blog
perfect.
should be 70 and
Continue. Sorry, Muhammad, continue. Your blog should be?
your blog should be between 70 and 90 words.
Okay, that's amazing. And here it's 16 marks. So it's task 3. If you noticed, Muhammad said you must. So if any of these bullet points wasn't covered, I won't be able to go to the high event. Okay, so all of the bullet points have to be covered. Another point, if you noticed, task 2, it was 3 bullet points, but here they are 4 bullet points. Task 2, we said the first one could be covered in just 1 word. Second one, like 1 sentence or 2, but third one, it has to be in details. We would do the same here, but we would say that the third one in details and the fourth one in details. So last 2 bullet points, each one in a paragraph. First 2 ones could be in the introduction, totally fine. But it's a blog. Mister, what do we mean by the word blog even? We don't understand blog. Blog, actually, it's a short form of 2 words. Web log. So the weblog, it means like something you write on the internet. So if I'm doing the way that we analyze our task, we said we analyze the task using CARP, content, audience, register, and purpose. So the content I need to write in front of each point here, how would I cover it? So this question, for example, would speaking about activity, as Muhammad excellently told us, that we do with our friends. So what activity, what the activity is? So I can say, for example, football, playing football. It could be, for example, donating, whatever you would write. But since it's about an activity, so it's considered theme 1, and theme 1 could be about sports, about listening to music or whatsoever. So where you do the activity, if I said football, so I would go with the next point. I would say it could be the club or even at school or street whatsoever. So where you do the activity, you would match the place to this one. If the first bullet point could be covered in just one bullet point, 1 word, so what activity? I enjoy playing football, so football. The second bullet point needs like a couple of sentences. So where you do the activity, we usually do the activity or play football in the club, but sometimes we play in our PE classes in our school. All right. The next one, who you do the activity with. Just saying I play football with my friends in 1 sentence, it doesn't mean that you detailed this. Although I know that it could be a bit challenging to speak much about who, but please, it's important. So here, for example, I would try while I'm analyzing, right in front of it, 2 or 3 bullet points. So who, I would say, for example, teammates in the club and my classmates or my friends in school when I'm playing in a school. And sometimes I enjoy playing in the backyard with my family members, my dad, my brothers, or my siblings or whatsoever. Next one, why you do it? I would give some reasons here. I'm not writing sentences right now. I'm just preparing myself for writing. So I'm collecting the ideas. Then when I'm starting to write, I would have the ideas. I'm just like arranging them in a good way. So why you do it? Why you play football? It could be to keep fit. All right. So to keep fit, this is one of them. Another point, to pass time. Third one, because I enjoy doing it, it might be a possible future career. All right. So I give 3. You could give more. But most importantly, any point you are giving in 3rd bullet point or 4th bullet point, try to support it. You would support it using some of the linking words we took last class. So say, for example, and give an example. So for example, it was one of the linking words, which means, and try to give explanation. In other words, and give explanation. So you can say as a result or consequently, and give the result of why you are doing it and so on. So here, how it looks. I right now analyze the content. We said CARP, content, audience, register, and purpose. Any blog, the audience would be online users, because I'm writing it online, so I do not know who would visit it. Usually, those who would visit it, who would be interested in the same topic. So if I wrote about cooking and someone is not interested about cooking, he or she wouldn't be reading it. So the register later, so it doesn't have to be your friends. So the register later, usually we say the blog writing is semi-formal. What do you mean by semi-formal? You can use contractions and you can use for fun. You can use idioms and you can use academic words. You can use first person point of view like my or I or we, and you can use third person point of view and generalization like most of people do want to. So semi-formal, it means that we wouldn't care much about the register. The purpose. Why we write, it depends upon the question. Here, for example, to inform, to give information. Sometimes could be to persuade. You are writing to convince others to help the community or to help the environment or whatsoever. So it depends on the question. Here, it's just you are telling information, so it is to inform. Do I need to write like in the informal email letter, Mr. You told us in the introduction, I have to mention the reason why I'm writing. Here, no, you don't need to write, but it would help you while you are writing to use some techniques. When it comes to persuasive writing, for example, I will tell you about 7 techniques you need to use of them, some of them. So it would help you for the purpose, okay? But you wouldn't say, I'm writing this blog to inform or to invite or whatsoever. It's not the case at all. Reem here has a question. She's saying, should it be short answers or should I give so many details? First 2 bullet points, Reem, short answers. But the last 2 bullet points, each one of them in a whole paragraph. How many words would I write? He told you 1090, but you can write, usually students write 120, 130 words or something like this. Even if you exceeded by 10, 20 words more, it would be okay. May, June 2023, Fatima, if you don't mind, write a blog.
Write a blog about a sport that you like to watch. You must write about which sport you like to watch, where you watch the sport, when you watch the sport, who you like watching it. Your blog should be between 70 to 90 words.
Okay, perfect. So here we do have 4 bullet points again. We need to cover them. Last 2 bullet points should be detailed. Sometimes they are simply giving you the question which was repeated before. And here it happens because Oxford, they do have only 3 themes. So from time to time, they have to repeat the questions. Yeah, I know it could be a good point for you. So you would find that all of the ideas you already went through them before. And that's why doing the homework, submitting it is extremely important because you might, on the day of the exam, you might find the same question that we had before you are having it again. May, June 2025, alhamdulillah, all of the questions, since all of the questions of the informal and the blog and the article, since already wrote about them before. One of the questions, even the bullet points were the same, and I will show it to you from our notes, and I will show it to you from the official exam. So just following the points that we say, writing, doing your tasks on time, getting the feedback, improving your technique by proofreading would help you to go and do the exam like a piece of cake, inshallah. Let's find out here 4 bullet points. Which sport you would like to watch? It should be just one word. I can say again, football. But here I'm watching. Where do you watch it? So the first one I said in the club or the school. Here, of course, I can't say the school because here it's watching, not doing. So watching, it could be at home and it could be, for example, at the stadium or whatever. When you watch it, it was a bit challenging to get the third bullet point to be when, but again, you can develop it. So when it could be at my free times, usually it could be in the weekend, as most of the games of Premier League, for example, are being played between Saturday and Sunday. If you choose another sport, for example, you said swimming, so I go to the swimming pool itself to watch the competitions there. And sometimes I enjoy watching it from the TV or even YouTube. So you can give 3 points, YouTube, TV, stadium, or whatever, and you can develop them, which means that I am into the vibes of the stadium and so on. Why you like watching it? Again, it could be for encouraging me to do an activity later on. Could be a perfect pastime. Pastime, it means like something that you enjoy doing while you are having free time and so on. More questions about it. Each question about one of the themes. So for example, all of the ones before were about theme 1, sports and activity. Here, festival or event you have been to, again, it's theme 1. So the name of the festival or event could be the National Day. It could be For example, what is happening in Egypt today, it was about the museum, the Grand Egyptian Museum. So it could be the event. If it's a festival, you can say even Eid or whatsoever. Where the festival or event took place, you would mention the place. Again, here, the first one, just the name. Second one, where it's one sentence or couple. What you did there, 3 bullet points. Why you went there, 3 bullet points. Here, a person who inspired you. Again, my family, me, my friends, and so on. So the name of the person, once you said my mother, that's it, or my father, or Muhammad Salah, or the Prophet, peace be upon him, so whosoever you would speak about. How long you have known them, so you would say, since I came to life, I knew my father, so you mentioned that. What you like about them, you would here speak about some of their characters or characteristics, like what they have, kindness or whatsoever. You should use some of the idioms that you studied earlier when we had the test. How they have inspired you, so what you want to do in future because they did in their life. Here it was the only time that this question came as task 4. And here when it comes to task 4, it's a bit different. Misk, if you don't mind, can you help us with this? Write a blog.
Write a blog about friendship. You could explain why people enjoy having friends, how someone has been a good friend to you. Your blog you should between 100 and 150 words.
Of course.
23
Thank you so
marks.
much, Misk. Yes, and it's 23 marks. Look here. When it comes to task 4, he doesn't give you 4 bullet points. He gives you only 2. And he doesn't say you must. He say you could. Which means if you want to use these 2 bullet points, it's okay. If you use something else, totally fine. But it's supposed to be about friendship. So it's supposed to be relevant. Here, watch out, the word limit, it's 100 as the low limit. So writing less than 100 words would affect your mark, of course. It will not be detailed. It's supposed to be more. And here, it's the last task. So more marks are given for vocabulary. I will show you the marking criteria and I will show you what exactly they are asking for. So you need to care about these points when it comes. Usually I tell students when it comes as task 4, whether blog or article or whatsoever, look, if it's article, it would be the same, like what this question, but he wouldn't write blog, he would write an article. But he would give you 2 bullet points again, and the same. And here he wouldn't say your blog, he would say your article. So it would be really similar to the blog. You can even say it's the same. Just in blog, we use more informal register, like it's semi-formal. But in article, we try to make it fairly formal. We give it more academic words and so on. When it comes to article, we'll speak about it. So just right now, focus on the blog. So it came only once as task 4. Could it come again? Why not? In May, June, as I told you, he didn't write blog at all. We usually tell students make the first bullet point in body 1 and the second bullet point in body 2. And the introduction would give you some techniques to use, and the conclusion would give you some techniques to use. So, and the first bullet point, of course, needs to be developed well. We'd give for each point like 3 points while we are analyzing. So why people enjoy having friends, for example, because no one can live alone in this life and they might like to hang out with them. This is a point. Another point, asking for their advice. Third point, to help them whenever they are in need or whatsoever. And each point of them, you need to support it with an example or as a result or which means, and you need using some linking words. Moreover, furthermore, what's more, additionally, and so on. The same would happen with the next bullet point, how someone has been a good friend to you. May 2019, it was task 3 again. And here, look, the same question, but here he didn't say sport, he said film. A film that you enjoyed watching. It's theme 1 again. So the name of the film, just mentioning the name, that's it, Spider-Man, and that's it. Where you watched the film, once you said that we watched it in the cinema because we enjoy the vibes there, you already did this. Or we watched it at home because it's more comfortable, so that's it. What the film is about, so here you would have 1 paragraph to tell us about the story. Not in details, but like the theme, the plot, and what was the moral out of it. Why you liked the film, you would speak about what were enjoyable points for you. It's task 3. That's why he said you must. He didn't say you could. And that's why they are 4 bullet points, plus 2 again should be in details. But the difference between the blog and between the diary entry, if you don't mind, Hagar, can you tell us about the blog and the diary entry? What is the difference between both of them?
The blog, the origin of the word the blog is an abbreviation for weblog. That is an online diary. Blogs are written by many people all over the world for lots of different purposes. They can be diaries or records of what you cook, a travel log for people visiting different destinations, or book review blogs, or many other sorts of blogs. Blogs are online sources of opinion, reflection, and learning. What is a diary entry? A diary is a record originally in written book format.
Okay, perfect. I would just stop you here. We'd continue, Mahagar, but I want just to make sure that students understood the first part, which is the blog. So the blog, as excellently Hajar told us, it's a short form of web blog. So some people go on the internet, on the web, and they write something. Log, it means like just you are logging in, so you are writing something about today or about something happened to you. It could be about a restaurant you went and you enjoyed. It could be about sports that you participated in. It could be about a movie or whatsoever, as you saw before. Usually you are writing about something you already did. So you would use I and my and some idioms and so on. Some people say it's like a diary. Yes, because you are telling us what happened to you. But the difference is that you wouldn't say dear diary in the beginning, and you wouldn't say at the end yours and your name, because it's a web blog, so anyone can read it, right? But it's the same like the diary. That's why you would find some questions I'm writing, write a blog or a web or a diary. Okay, so a blog post or a diary, both of them are actually the same. Guess what? Even if it's a review, it would be the same. It would be a review about a sport you enjoy, a review about a movie, a review about a restaurant you went, or whatsoever. So it would be actually the same. Let's go to what is a diary. Continue, Hajar. Sorry for interruption.
A diary entry originally written in book format with personal entries arranged by date, reporting on what has happened over the course of a day or another period. The word journal may be sometimes used for diary, but generally one writes diary daily in a diary, whereas journal writing can be less frequent. While a diary may provide information for a memoir, autobiography, or biography, it is generally written not with the intention of being published as it stands, but for the author's own use. Another form of the diary is the travel diary, which is the documentation of series of journeys.
That's perfect. So the diary is the same, by the way, like in the blog, but just as I told you how it looks like. Sometimes of it, memoir, when you start to remember an incident happened to you, or autobiography, like you are writing about your life, so some stuff you did before, or biography, you are writing about someone else, like when he asked you to write about one inspired you, a person inspired you before, so you might be writing about a football player or a family member or whatsoever. So this is the biography. The difference between autobiography and biography: autobiography are writing about yourself, but biography are writing about someone else. Memoir, something happened to you and you trying to remember. Here you would find we put you the difference between them. The blog, it's written online, but the diary, it's written in a book format, like you are writing on a diary. Here you don't need a date, but here you can write a date, like the date to tell when you already have this day or whatsoever to remember later. Can be written for different purposes, like to provide travel information or recipes or fitness tips or whatsoever. But here you are just writing it to yourself because you would read it later on. But the first one, it was online, so anyone can read. Last one, no salutation is needed. But in the diary, we started with Dear Diary. Like the email or letter, you said Dear Ahmed, here you say Dear Diary. This is the difference between them, and nothing more, nothing less. The purpose could be different, as we mentioned before. What you are writing, it could be to give your personal account on something. You can be informing or persuading or whatsoever. The audience, the people who would read it, if it's a blog, it's online. If it's not online, so it's not blog, it's diary. You are writing it to yourself. Okay. Last thing, the tone or the register semiphone. Okay. It depends on the topic. Of course, if I'm writing a blog about politics, It wouldn't be semi-formal, it would be formal. But we don't have politics in our curriculum. So he would never ask you to write about politics. You wouldn't find something in the blog actually to be really formal. Even he spoke about work, career, whatsoever, he would be asking you about a job you want to do. So it would be about you. So again, you can use semi-formal. But here we do have a question and its response. We would read the question and would read the response that was written by the student. And we try to find out those techniques that the student did and we highlighted them, what they are, and how can I do something similar or even better. This response scored the full mark. So this is a question and the response got the full mark. Let's find out more about it with each other. Marwan, here it says, read the following response given by a student on the following question and analyze the features. What the main features, like the things related to it, or the characteristics of it. Of a blog or diary entry, we said before, we never would say blog or diary entry because they are similar. By commenting on the highlighted sections in the sample, write your comments in the empty boxes. Here we do have 4 bullet points about the blog. It says about travel experiences that you had. So it's a theme 2, because theme 2 last part, it's about travel. When in speaking, I ask you, tell me about one country you'd like to travel to or whatsoever. To another country. Here we do have 4 bullet points. Last 2 should be in details. First 2 just will be mentioned. First one, with can you please, if you don't mind, Marwan, read to us this question, right? Marwan, are you there?
Write a blog.
Yes,
Yes.
go ahead.
Write a blog or a diary entry about your travel experience to another country. You must mention which country you went to, when you went there, what you did there, how you felt about it. Your diary or blog entry should be between 70 and 90 words.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Marwan. So, as Marwan excellently told us, we do have 4 bullet points to be done. Let's read it and let's find out more about it. Muhammad Ala Rajdan, if you don't mind, a pleasing surprise. So he gives a title. So, Mister, while I'm writing blog writing, do I need a title? You can use it. It's not a must. It's not in the marking criteria. But please try to give a title, short one. You can put it in the middle or you can put it to the left side. All right. If you didn't write a title, you will not drop a mark, but it's better to use a title. Watch out that whenever you are writing a title, capitalize the initials. The first letter in each word should be capitalized. So here, a pleasant surprise. P is capitalized and surprise S is capitalized. If you don't mind, Muhammad Ala, and Muhammad Ala, I'm sorry, I would interrupt you sometimes to clarify some things, if you don't mind. They say
that the best experiences are never planned. This was said.
I'm sorry for interruption. Here, the technique that this student started with. I will tell you about 4 techniques. They would be helpful to us in the blog and in the article as well. And we'll try to find out which technique the student did. Usually, when we start an article or when we start a blog writing, we start with a rhetorical question, like a question that doesn't really need an answer, or list of 3, and I will show you a list of 3 in this writing, but it wasn't in the first sentence. List of 3 when you give 3 adjectives or 3 phrases in the same format next to each other. Like when you say amazing, breathtaking, hilarious. Those are the 3 words that describe my last journey. So 3 adjectives in the beginning. So far I spoke about 2 techniques. Rhetorical question, list of 3. The next technique, it would be a famous fact or quotation. What do you mean famous fact, Mr.? When you say, for example, one of the 7 wonders of the world, pyramids is. So this is a fact. All of you know it. So it's a fact, could be used. Or the last one, quotation, like when you get a quote, some people say something. So here he said, they say that the best experiences are never planned. So Muhammad Ala, what technique is this? Is it a rhetorical question?
No.
Is it a list of 3? It doesn't work with them. Is it one fact? No, it is a quotation. Continue, Muhammad. Sorry for interruption, but I told you earlier that I would still be
Okay.
This was?
This was certainly the case last summer when my family and I traveled to Jordan in June with the intention of visiting a few of my father's old friends.
Can I stop you here? Look here. Can you see the sentence? He covered the first 2 bullet points in this sentence. If you looked at the question again, the question was saying which country you went to. He covered it in only one word. Traveled to Jordan. The next one, when you went there in June. So he covered the first 2 bullet points. Now he would go to the other ones. We didn't finish the introduction. He could have put full stop here, by the way, but he wanted to add more information because he knows that this is task 3, and task 3 we need some complex structure and some complex vocab. So he says wide range of effective vocab and structure, and he would use a complex structure here. Let's see what Muhammad would say to us right now. To you, Muhammad?
Little did we know, however, that we would be starstruck by the fascinating sights, tourist attractions, and culinary delicacies that the country has to offer.
Thank you so much. Here, I would stop you, Muhammad, and I would return back to you, but let me just say what we did here. Little did we know. This is called inversion, and it's complex structure. Why it's inversion? When you start with an adverb like little or rarely or whatsoever, you would make the inversion. You would bring the verb before the subject. Little, I didn't say little we knew. I said little did we know, like if it's a question. So little did we know, and this is called inversion. It happens with not only, like when we say not only did it help with. So after not only, I made it like a question. Did it? I didn't say it helped, right? So here it's called the inversion. We will take it in details, inshallah, in improving writing style, but just since we became across it, so please try to not say. So here inversion, little did we know. Then he gave a linking word, however, that we took last week, and it was today in the questions, that we would be starstruck. He started to use some advanced vocab. And that's why I'm saying memorizing vocabulary of improving writing style is extremely important. Starstruck by the fascinating sights, tourist attractions, and culinary delicacies. List of 3, and this is what I mentioned before, that we can start with list of 3. Fascinating sights, tourist attractions, and culinary delicacies. 3 phrases in the same form. Could be 3 adjectives, could be 3 verbs. But it's really persuasive technique and a nice technique to be used. You'd find, by the way, most of AIs right now, if we spot students who are using AI in their writing from these techniques, by the way, because we know ChatGPT, what does it use, Gemini, what does it use, and so on. Those techniques which they are formed accordingly, we note and spot them. So here you would find this technique, by the way, is used a lot by ChatGPT, which is list of 3. So here, fascinating sights, tourist attractions, and culinary delicacies. What do we mean by culinary delicacies? Culinary, it means related to food and related to cooking and so on. Delicacies, amazing, delicious food and so on. So here he's talking about the 3 things that captured him. He said fascinating sights, another thing, tourist attractions, last thing, the food or the type of food, culinary delicacies that the country has to offer. Now, what technique is this? Here, for example, here, if I said a quote or a famous quotation, here I would say list of 3, and I can say complex structure inversion, which was used here. We give you these boxes so you can find the technique, the features, so you will be able to use them later in your own writing. Continue, Muhammad, upon arrival. Sorry.
We were all truly
Just here it is here. So upon arrival.
Upon arrival, it was immediately obvious that Jordan was nothing like a country I had ever visited.
Okay, perfect.
We were effectively scaling hills to get from the airport to the hotel. As for the food, all that we tried during our 1-week stay was nothing short of perfection. From the fancy restaurants to nearby street food shops, everything seemed to cater to our taste buds.
Excellent. So here it's first person point of view. I would come to you, Muhammad Zidane, just to give me a minute. So it's first person point of view. Why we can use I? Because as I told you before, You are talking about your own experience, the food that you like, or the travel that you enjoyed, or the football or the sport that you like. So it's yours. So you can use I, me, we, and so on. Here it's semicolon. We are just trying to tell you, try to vary your punctuation marks. It's complete sentence, and another complete sentence you can use semicolon, and in case if you use semicolon, no capital letter after. All right. Here, from the fancy restaurants to the nearby street food shops, he's trying to vary sentence openers. Don't you remember when we took 8 techniques to vary our sentence openers? One of them, it was the prepositional phrases. To start with the preposition, like from, in to, up, and next to, and so on. So he's varying sentence openers. So here I can say varied sentence openers. Another technique was used in this one. It is the alliteration. What do you mean by alliteration? When more than one word start with the same consonant sound. From, F sound. Fancy, F sound. Food, F sound. So it creates music to your ears. So here I can say alliteration, and I can say varied sentence opener. Would continue with Muhammad Ala, but let me just listen to Muhammad Zidane. Yes, Muhammad Zidane, do you have a question?
Do we should use these boxes?
Sorry again, Muhammad, I can't
What's these boxes?
These boxes, Muhammad, to write what techniques are for. So this technique, that what I would write in this box, I would write in this box that it is wide range of sentence openers. Here I would say personalization in this box, right? Here it's just to help you. In the exam, you wouldn't write these boxes, but I'm trying to analyze the sample with you. So later on, you will be able to do something like this, okay? And that's what we are doing while Muhammad is reading.
So we shouldn't write in the exam.
No, in the exam, we just write the sample. But here, to learn the sample, to analyze it well, to understand what is being happening, to do like this or even better, while you are doing your homework or the exam, you would be able to do this. Continue, Muhammad. We were all.
We were
So
all
we
truly,
write.
me or him,
Yes, Muhammad Ala Rajdan.
we were all truly impressed with the country and with the lovely manners of the locals who encouraged us to visit the Dead Sea.
Okay, so here it's a personal experience. So he gave another point. It's some feelings. He used the word impressed to show the feeling, all right, and encouraged and so on. So the feelings that he had. The beach.
The beach exceeded our expectations. It was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Okay, what is once in a lifetime? What technique it is? Any idea, Muhammad? It's an idiom, right? So we
Yes,
can
it
use
is.
some idioms while we are writing. Last one here, Muhammad, last paragraph.
All in all, I will always recommend Jordan to anyone looking for a way to unwind. Uh, everything
Everything.
from the everything from the food to the scenery was a lovely surprise, and we will definitely be visiting it again in the future. What
Okay.
about you?
Mhm.
What is one travel experience you will never forget?
Perfect. So here we will hear its contractions. I can use some contractions while I'm writing blog writing. What about you? What is one travel experience you will never forget? It's a question, type of question to be used at the end to end your writing. You would find that he covered all of the 4 bullet points. What he did there, he already spoke. How he felt about it, he spoke about it. The first 2 bullet points were given. Wide range of sentence structure, wide range of sentence openers. Even the punctuation marks are varied. He did really well, and actually the student deserved to take the full mark here. If you don't mind here, Yusuf, are you there? I want to find out how can I get the full mark in content? Right now we remember that when we took picture description, we said 5 things. If you did, you would get the full mark. If you remember, we said for content, relevant, detailed, no communication delay, and we said spelling and punctuation are accurate. In format no letter, we had our own marking criteria. Now, task 3, to be able to get the full mark. Muhammad, what can I say? What should I care for? Sorry, I said Yusuf.
Yes.
And excellent.
Excellent response, which is fully relevant and detailed, conveying a wide range of detail. Communication is clear and coherent.
Coherent. Excellent, Yusuf. So as Yusuf told us, the excellent response, so your writing, your blog, whatever you wrote, is fully relevant. You didn't go off topic. And detailed. And when we say detailed, it means the last two bullet points are covered in details. Give each one a paragraph. First two ones could be in a paragraph, because each one would be one word or one sentence. And the other two bullet points, each one in its own paragraph, conveying a wide range of detail. So when it comes to the bullet points, you are giving more than 1 point. I would come again to you, Yusuf. Communication is clear and coherent, so no communication delay, so no fragments, so no run-on sentence, which we started our course with. You can go back to the first video. Yes, Yusuf Ala, you would continue with the next part when it comes to
Yes, Mr. A question. The paragraph will be how many sentences?
Look, the paragraph, how many sentences? In Oxford, we don't count how many sentences did you write, but at least try to give 3 sentences. Sometimes 2 sentences if one complex and one compound could be a paragraph, but we usually say 3 sentences at least. I know that when you were young, we told you that any paragraph should be only 6 sentences, not less, and so on. But right now, if I wrote 3 paragraphs, each one 6 sentences, I would write like 200 words. So I'm asking you just each paragraph like between 3 sentences to 4 sentences.
Mr. While you are checking, you care about lines or sentences?
No, we don't care about lines or sentences. We care about what is in the marking criteria. The marking criteria didn't say count sentences or count lines. It told us to care that the word limit, you wrote more than 70 words, for example, here. And it told us that no communication delay. All right. It told us that it's supposed to be detailed. So the last 2 bullet points in details, or one of them, you just give 1 sentence. If you give 1 sentence for the 3rd point or the 4th point, it will not be detailed. Relevant,
Yes,
did you go off topic? Relevant, did you go off topic, or you were just writing about the points that we have? So this is what we care about, okay? We don't care about sentences and so on. Yusuf, in order to be able to go to the full mark in language, what do I need?
I need the spelling and punctuation are accurate.
Isn't it the same like task 1 and the task 2 and task 3? All of them ask about spelling and punctuation. That's why we say and we repeat and we will repeat. Whenever you have a spelling mistake in any of the words that you wrote, you should write it in your own notes with the perfect spelling to avoid repeating it again later in the official, okay? So spelling and punctuation is accurate. If you don't have accurate punctuation, it will not only affect the language, it will affect all the content, also content. Why? Because in the content, it asked for no communication delay. So if you give me fragment, if you give me a run-on sentence, it's because of the punctuation. So watch out for the punctuation. That's why we started with the sentence structure and the punctuation. You can refer back to the videos. Next one, uses.
Use a wide variety of effective vocabulary and grammatical structures.
So here it's a wide variety of effective vocab and grammatical structure. It's not like task 1 that asked only about spelling and punctuation. Task 2, it asked for wide variety of vocab and grammatical structure. Here he added the word effective. That's why every time you would find that I'm asking you about the level of vocab you are using. Task 1, I wouldn't ask you about it. Task 2, somehow, wide range, so do not repeat. But here, do not repeat the vocab that you are using, and at the same time, try to use some of the less common vocab, some of the advanced vocabulary. So effective vocab, topic-related vocabulary. Always we care about the highest band because we don't want to get less than this. So if I'm going to analyze what we said before, the content, it's supposed to be fully relevant and detailed. Wide range of details, we said the last 2 bullet points should be in details. Communication is clear and coherent, using some linking words and so on. Spelling and punctuation accurate, wide range of vocab. Using linking words, idioms in the blog is really important. Idioms, alhamdulillah, we memorized like 15 pages before. So we should be ready for idioms in informal email or letter or blog or even article. I should use 1 or a couple of idioms. We should be ready with them because we already had a test about them. Before I forget, Next session, we have a test. I'll tell you about it at the end of today's class, inshallah. So this is if it's task 3. Task 4, Mister. What should be there? You would find that the content is almost similar to this, but the language is different. Because language wouldn't be out of 8, it would be out of 15. If you don't mind, can you please, Omar Rifai? The content, Omar.
Hello, what would you say, Monsieur?
Yeah, can you read to us the content in this area? What would it be?
An excellent response which is fully relevant and detailed, conveying a wide range of detail. Communication is clear and coherent.
So it's the same like task 3, nothing new. But look, Omar, when it comes to the language, to get the highest band, what does it say? Can you?
Sophisticated vocabulary and grammatical structure for effect. More complex sentences handled with confidence. Writing is fluent and effective. High level of accuracy in spelling and punctuation. Occasional minor errors may occur.
So what does it mean? Look here, to get, by the way, it's 15 marks. The band is 15 or 14 or 13. All of the 3 marks are in the same band. He says not wide range of vocab, not wide range of effective vocab. It says sophisticated vocabulary and sophisticated grammatical structure. So inversion, relative clauses, I'm talking about the structure right now. Inversion, relative clauses, cleft sentence, and so on. And we'd speak about them in details, don't worry, in improving writing style. This is for the vocab and structure. So vocabulary is extremely important. I wouldn't be expecting you in task 4 writing help. You should use some advanced vocab for the same word. Instead of help, you can say aid, support, and some other words. Don't say give, you can say provide. Don't say, for example, use, you can say utilize. So some advanced vocab for each word. More complex sentences handled with confidence. What do you mean by confidence while writing? It means that you can vary your sentence structure without mistakes. If you don't have mistakes, so it means that you have confidence in writing, because it's not speaking, you are not talking without hesitation, but you are writing. So with confidence, so no mistakes. Writing is fluent and effective. Linking words are working well. Look here, he said something. He said high level of accuracy in spelling and punctuation. So no mistakes should be there. But then he said occasional minor errors may occur. What does it mean? For example, a student forgot letter E at the end of the word. He wouldn't drop you the whole band, so you wouldn't go to 10 to 12. No, it's one mistake of letter E, 2 mistakes, something small like this. You might be in the same band, but you will not take the full mark. You will not take 15. Could be 13, could be 14, according to how severe your mistakes were. But if no mistakes, inshallah, it would be 15, and you varied your sentence structure and your vocabulary and linking words and so on. This is for this part. Here we do have the sample, another sample like the one that we analyzed about task 3. Iyad, if you don't mind, can you write a blog entry about?
Write a blog entry about what you want to like to do when you have finished school or college. You must write about when you will finish school or college, your plan for next 2 years, what you would like to do as a career, why you would like to do it. Your blog entry should be in between 70 and 90 words.
Excellent, yeah, thank you so much. And it's 16 marks. That's perfect. So here it was a question. It was the first exam of Oxford to be implemented. It was May, June 2018. And this is the first paper that we had after the specimen. 4 bullet points. The last 2 bullet points should be written in details. And we do have here the first 2 bullet points, of course, have to be covered. That's why he said you must. He said write a blog about what you would like to do when you finish school or college. So it's theme 3, which is about school, university, and future career, and so on. Here we do have 2 answers. This is the last thing that we'll do today. Those two answers are given by students in 2018. Those two answers are given back to us by Oxford to show us how they give the marks. And I usually enjoy anything coming from the board itself to show it to you, to get you to see how it happens. The blog writing, there is a student, we would call him student letter A, and there is a student, we would call him student letter B. Student letter A wrote this response to the question that he had
قول لي
written
محمد
to us.
جمعة.
And student B wrote to us this. So let's listen to Muhammad Zidan while he's telling us about student A. What did the student write? If you don't mind, Muhammad.
At the end of this month, 6, uh, 6, 18, 2018, my college will finish. For my future, I make plans to enter university to do the interior design. These days, these courses are very popular in UAE. This profession has a good scope. In this field, money is very attractive. In the advanced countries, we can get the job. These days, all the modern buildings depend on the interior design. When someone enters the building, if its entrance is not attractive, the whole building from inside is not attractive, then no one would like it. So for my future, this field is the best, and I also very much interested in this field.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Muhammad. Muhammad, before you go any further, what do you think of this response? Is this a good one or a bad one?
No, I think good.
Good. Top. If you would give it a mark out of 16, 8 for content and 8 for language, what do you think he should say? I want you all
No,
to think of
I
this
will
question.
give it 13.
13, you are really generous, Muhammad. But let me show you some of the mistakes, and then I want you to tell me the mark after you see these mistakes, Muhammad. All of you, please try to think about the mark according to the marking criteria we said before. At the end of this month, and then he didn't say the month, he gave the date, 6/6/18, right? My college will finish, okay? For my future, he's supposed to use comma here because he gave introductory phrase with preposition. I make plans to enter university. Do we say enter university? It's like thinking in Arabic, then writing in English. We say join university. Enter university هو قال لك هدخل الجامعة يبقى هدخل enter. It doesn't work like this. We do have something called the collocations, right? So I can say make a team, but I can say do meeting. I say do homework, but I can say make homework. So there are collocations, words which work naturally together. I would get back to you again, Muhammad Zidan, but let me continue showing the mistakes. To do the interior design, he wants to say interior, but he said interior, right? Then he put full stop and he started the sentence with small letter. Another mistake of punctuation, supposed to be capital. These days, this course, one course are. Subject verb agreement mistake, right? This course is very popular in UAE. Full stop, and again he started with small letter. This profession has a good scope. In this field, supposed to be comma because he started with a prepositional phrase. Money is very attractive. He wrote attractive with one T. It's supposed to be two, so it's spelling mistake. Another point, okay. In the advanced countries, we need a comma because again, it is introductory phrase. We can get the job. Really simple sentences. I can't find a complex structure or whatsoever. These days, again, small letter, and the same word is being repeated again. These days, he is supposed to put comma, he didn't put a comma, and he wrote all with capital A. I don't know why. All the modern buildings depend on interior design. I don't know. Interior, again, he wrote interior. When someone enters the building, comma, good comma, by the way, if its entrance is not attractive, the whole building from inside is not attractive, then no one would like it. He's thinking in Arabic. He's not thinking in English at all. And that's why هو لما هيدخل هيبقى المنظر من جوه مش حلو الجو الضيق ده كله يعني of course it's not English. So for my future, he's supposed to put a comma here. This field is the best. And I supposed to be comma here because he started to give us a compound sentence. And I also very much interested, wanted to say interested, but I wrote it interested or what, in this field. He approached all of the four bullet points, but it doesn't mean because you approached them that you wrote something. I'm not talking about organizing introduction, body one, body two, conclusion, even if you wrote it one paragraph, but not in this way. It shouldn't be in such a way at all. Muhammad Zidan, do you have a question? Right. Let me ask you, Marwan, what mark do you think, Marwan, this response should take out of 16? Marwan, are you there? Marwan.
Yes, Mister.
Yes, what do you think?
Yes.
What mark do you think he should take?
Out of how much?
16, 1 6. 8 content, 8 language.
Uh, I think 7 or 8 because he had covered the bullet point, but the spelling and the punctuation or vocab are not correct.
Really
So
close to the correct one, Marwan, but let's find out more responses. Fatima, what do you think, Mark? Thank you, Marwan. Fatima, what do you think the mark should be?
Maybe 10 out of 16. 10 out of 16.
Okay, actually, this response scored 9. So it's you, both of you were really close. You would find here while the ideas in the response are good, there is some inconsistency of expression. For instance, which means, for example, the second sentence, the verb from isn't accurate. The verb form, it was subject verb agreement mistake that we commented on. You would find here in the second sentence when he said, I make plans to enter university to do this. Then he said, these days, this course are. It's supposed to be this course is. So some mistakes are here and there, subject verb agreement that we talked before and so on. And accordingly, the student scored at the end line. You can read the rest of the comment. I already included it to you in our notes. If you don't mind, Hagar, can you tell us about the student B? What did he say?
Next year I will finish my school life. Next year I will have big plans for my future. For the first year after I graduate, I'd like to write several songs by myself by using FL Studio. I will practice my voice in the first year and try to secure some remix and recording jobs. In the second year, I want to make my own mixtape and performance in the live house. My plans are not easy to achieve. I will need to spend much money and time on it. Writing songs are not easy. Making beats are not easy either. And I would like to do all those things because I want to be a rapper and record producer. You may be confused why I want these jobs. The reasons are very simple. First, I like making music and I can express my emotions through lyrics. Second, music can help me to relax when I'm depressed. I like to listen to jazz to make me feel better. Music is the most amazing thing in the world.
Okay, that's perfect. What mark would you give Muhajir for this response? It's the same question, but here, different response.
I'd give the full mark for content, but 1 mark less for language because it's kind of not that clear because I've said next year twice because like next year was used as an opener and at the end, so clarity is not
He
enough.
repeated it again. Excellent. By the way, I do agree with you, Hajar, that it's supposed to be 15, but guess what? Oxford at this year, it was the first year for them, so they were generous. So they went giving the full mark. It was 16. I would come back to you, Muhammad Zidan. I know that you raised your hand, but let's listen to Muhammad Rashwan. Muhammad Ahmad Rashwan, if you don't mind, can you tell us about the comment of Oxford about this response? Thank you, Hajar.
This is an excellent response, which offers an engaging personal account of future plans. The details are specific, and the thoughts and feelings seem very authentic. The introductory sentence sets up the piece, and there's a chronological sequence at work which helps with structure. The bullet points in the task are addressed and the examiner can see the response behind the student's decisions. This is an interesting and clearly communicated response. There is a good variety of sentence structures used here, aided by the deployment of accurate punctuation, ambitious word choices related to the field of music are used, and spelling is accurate. This piece gained 8 marks for content/communication and 8 marks for language. Total marks 16.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Muhammad. So this is the mark that was given. I do agree with Roger again. By the way, it's supposed to be between 14 to 15. But yes, it was the first year for them, so they were giving a lot of marks at that time. They gave the full mark for this response. My dear, we would stop here about the blog. I think right now you have an idea how the blog look like. What is the blog? What questions could come? What is the marking criteria that we will be judged accordingly? Our homework of today, inshallah, would be a reading paper and a listening paper. Last week, we had listening. The week before, we had reading. Why this week, although usually I give only reading or listening, but why this week would have both? Because inshallah, next Saturday, we do have a test. The test would be in both reading and listening. So I want you to be sure that you answered more than one paper. For students who answered and found that, for example, rephrasing questions, they weren't able to say if their answer is correct or wrong, you can text me and I will be responding to you. Some of you already did. Some of you want to know the marks. So I already uploaded the mark scheme, the answer key in our group. I uploaded before our class by 1 hour or a couple of hours. So if anyone was late to submit, would be able to do it before I submit the mark scheme. So you can check if you didn't check. If you checked already, some of you, mashallah, told me that they scored the 38 or 40 or whatsoever. So it was perfect. For those who didn't check, please check. For those who didn't do, you have to do it first. Check yourself to find out where is your level. It's not long one. I know that all of you were going through midterm exams last week, but it's only 50 minutes. And if you didn't do it, when will you be able to do it? It's only 50 minutes. You can do it after the class. Consider the class continued for 2 hours or 2 hours, 30 minutes. Do it. Be sure that you do it. Why? Because I would submit another reading and another listening. So the reading should be take with you 1 hour, 15 minutes. Listening, once the audio stopped, that's it. So it's 50 minutes, 45 minutes. So both of them 2 hours. So in the whole week, which is 168 hours, if you can't find 2 hours for English, so it means that you didn't study. Next week, inshallah, we do have the test of reading and listening. It would be next week, inshallah, during our class. Another point, my dear students, again and again and again, vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Page 65 in improving writing style, we said the first 3 columns should be done. Because at any time, you would find a test with your parents and your parent is telling you, come sit to have your test. So please be sure that you are ready for the reading and listening next week. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Muhammad Zidane, you raised your hand, sorry. Do you have a question?
Do I should in the exam write it in paragraphs or only write in one paragraph?
It's supposed to be in paragraphs, all right? But to be honest with you, Muhammad, if you wrote only one paragraph, but without mistakes, they might give it a good mark. But we usually say organize it well. 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, and so on. You know, in Cambridge, it's important to write paragraphs. In Oxford, the marking criteria didn't say they don't. But it's better to organize your work well. If you care about getting the full mark, about getting a rank, inshallah, and doing good job, the 9, you are looking for the 9 for the A star, so you're supposed to organize it well, right? So paragraphs, of course.
No, I
By
think
the way, the
easy,
techniques of
I think
introduction, we'll go
easier
through them
also
in
to
details
write
again.
paragraphs.
Yeah, it's better, of course, Muhammad, to write in paragraphs. Excellent. Any other questions? Mesk, do you have questions? Reem? Fatima? Muhammad Ala Rajdain? Omar Wali? Omar Wali, do you have any
Yes,
questions?
yes.
No, I missed.
Okay. My dear all, it was
Did you finish, Mr.? Did you finish?
we've done, yes, we've done. Muhammad Ala Rajdan, do you have a
Okay,
question?
thank you.
Masuk.
Sir, I think 23 marks on writing questions too much.
I do agree with you, and unfortunately, some students do marks here. That's why we say memorizing vocab is extremely important. You might be doing no mistakes and dropping marks. Why? Because the vocab that you used are simple. So that's why we say, and this is the technique since 2018, they are doing this. Again, because it's 60 marks for this paper. You do have the first one, only 9 marks. And you would find the whole difference comes in the language. That's why we care about the vocab, we care about the different sentence structure. If you noticed, Muhammad, from day one, we started with how the sentence looks like, the types of sentences, then the punctuation, the full stop, the comma, the semicolon, and so on. Then we went to a wide range of vocab, wide range of structure, linking words, wide sentence openers, and so on. So we'd be sure that the student who cares, who wants to go for the full mark, he would be able to. I can show you some scenes with us, alhamdulillah, Allahumma lakal hamd, in May, June 2025. Although the picture was black and white, it wasn't colored. Although in May, June 2025, they didn't bring a blog, both of them were article, and we have students getting the full mark. So it's doable. Just following, if you care, and if you study well, if you submit your homework on time, as mashallah you do, and some other things do, if you care, you will be able to go to the full mark. But if a student doesn't care, Allah, if your parents, if the minister of the education came to you to beg you to study, you will know. So it's all about you. And that's why we always say, you are in the high school. You are taking your officials. You should be careful that you want to get the full mark, more than the teacher, more than your parents. Yes, I know that your parents would be really proud of you. Yes, as I'm telling you about other students getting the full mark, I would be proud of you. But you should take care because it's your future. If you want to be a scientist, if you want to be a doctor and engineer, you need to get the A star. And English, as a subject that you take for 13 years since you were in KG1 till grade 10 or whatsoever, it's supposed to be your game. Supposed to get it from the first. And I'm here to help and support. Yes, 23 marks are much, but you are capable, Muhammad, and inshallah you'll be there for it. I would send the homework, reading, and listening for this session. So it was really nice being with you, my dear. And inshallah, I'll be waiting for your homework to be submitted. See you next week with the test. Be ready. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.